Good evening, Wixman Ray here. It is 8:45. I'm just rounding it up. It's actually 8:42, but 8:45 p.m. Central Time. This is Friday, May 15th, 2026. We're halfway through May. Can you believe that? We're going to be into the heat of the summer here shortly. All right, so I'm just kind of showing you this loop, even though the sun's going down for the eastern half of the country, because it's really helpful in distinguishing where there's thunderstorms. And I got enough good shots here at the beginning to kind of show you that. In fact, I'm going to stop this. Go back here. Whoops. Here, let's hold on here. Sorry about this, guys. Oh, I just made it slower. Okay. Yeah, that'll work. So, yeah, so this is our RGB satellite. I'm just not going to loop it so we can see it a little bit better here. So we've got a storm, kind of a multiple of storms or several storms that are coming on shore across the Pacific Northwest with clouds and rain moving through this area. Then we got some showers kind of dipping down through north parts of Montana and North Dakota and northern Minnesota. A few little showers up in those, with a stronger low pressure that's off the picture here into up into Canada there. Um, and then we see some thunderstorms that have developed out here in Iowa and in parts of Nebraska, eastern Nebraska. This is where the most vigorous activity is. There's a few severe thunderstorm warnings. Also got a secondary area back here in West Texas and to western Oklahoma with a line of severe storms out here. So elsewhere, there's some spotty showers and thunderstorms across parts of Kansas and Missouri and even down into Texas a little bit. But like I said, because the moisture has kind of been limited coming out of the Gulf, there is some moisture getting up, but you're not getting a good solid line like you would see with some systems where it would be lined up all the way down, north and south. So we're just not seeing that because of that lack of moisture. And then we got a few showers out here across the west, mainly in Utah and Colorado, maybe a little bit into southern Wyoming and back into parts of central Nevada there. Yeah, and then otherwise, this system's departing in the northeast. Got some cloud cover back here across the northeast. I'll show you a better satellite picture. And then there's a couple storms rumbling across South Florida, the southern half of Florida, but pretty isolated. Let's switch this so you can see the eastern side better here. And we'll get this going back into a loop here. It might automatically do it for me. Maybe not. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so this is the infrared. So down here in Florida, there's a few showers and thunderstorms, but as is typical there, once the sun, it's already 9:45, so here in a couple hours, probably in the next hour or two, that stuff will be dying out. Yeah, and you can see these clouds. There's some real spotty showers across the northeast, but that low pressure's moved offshore now, so they'll see improving weather out there for the weekend. And here you can see all these thunderstorms that have blossomed out here. Yeah, and this is kind of got the loop. I got it sped up a little bit here. I'm gonna slow it down a little bit for you guys there. There we go. Yeah, so that's what it looks like. So we got, and these are associated with a couple of waves. There's a little bit of a surface trough up through here and our upper level energy going through this area. And that's also what's going on across this part of the country. A couple weak little waves going through the flow. And I'll show you that when I go to show you the model here. That seems to be a lot better than looking at the surface sometimes because it just helps explain what's going on. It's easier to see it, I think, even for us meteorologists. Okay, so we'll look at our surface observations and our radar that's overlaid here, courtesy of the Aviation Weather Center from NOAA's National Weather Service. We got quite a bit of showers out here from Seattle down to Portland, south of, you know, south from just north of Eugene southward is dry, but they're pretty chilly up there in Seattle. Looks like some 40s, 53 in Portland, and then 71 all the way in Medford. So go farther south and get out of that rain, and it warms right up. But a little cool back here in the 40s and 50s. Some showers all the way through northern Idaho and some up into Montana, and you can see them. A few rogue isolated showers across the northern part up here near the border. It's a little breezy too, nothing too crazy, maybe some 30, 40 mile an hour winds out of the west and the northwest up there associated with that system that's moving up into Canada. Um, but otherwise, pretty nice temperatures across the Dakotas. I mean, unless you're up north in the 60s, it's 70s south, 80s, even 91 there in Grand Island, Nebraska. Pretty warm. Um, and as we get down here, you see some severe thunderstorm warnings down here in Nebraska, southeast Nebraska, kind of to the southwest of Lincoln there. And then we got a severe thunderstorm in southern Iowa, and behind it some just regular showers and thunderstorms. And quite a few severe out here. Looks like one tornado warning there up coming towards the Charles City area, I guess. Yeah, so we got some pretty organized stuff up into northern Iowa, or yeah, and then even into southern Minnesota. There's nothing severe up there. They're looking pretty decent though, pretty strong. But quite a few showers and thunderstorms. And as you go up north into that trough, where the trough is, some kind of scattered showers and storms all the way up here. Um, so yeah, that's what you got going on there. And then you got across Missouri, mostly just showers. I don't think there's much in the way of thunder in this. Some showers up here across parts of Missouri and even down into Arkansas, Oklahoma. It's real, real isolated for the most part. There's one severe warning north of Oklahoma City there, and then you got a line out here from just southwest of what is this place called? Altus, Oklahoma, to their southwest, and then kind of a line of severe all the way down into West Texas there. And then out ahead of it, you got a few showers. Looks like they had a 50, almost 60 mile an hour gust out of the the shower or thunderstorm. Yeah, maybe it was just a shower that went through some pretty strong winds. So that's what it looks like. And yeah, there's some showers, maybe a couple rumbles of thunder out here between Abilene and what is these stations out here? Stephenville and Brownwood, Texas. So, yeah, so they're kind of scattered out, and even farther back into Texas, you got a few out there into southwest Texas. Looks like you got some up here near the panhandle of Oklahoma. It's mostly dying down thunderstorms, mostly just some. Looks like it's probably just raining now, raining itself out. Up into the Rockies here, we're seeing a few showers. Some of this probably isn't reaching the ground, but some might be sprinkling in some spots. Yeah, so that's what's going on there. Temperature wise, pretty nice up there. It's 6, almost 8 o'clock in Salt Lake City, almost 7 in Elko. That's where the time zone difference is when you go into Nevada there. 76 in Salt Lake, Elko 73. Got a little bit of winds out of the northwest, about 20, 25 knots. That's or 20, 25 miles an hour, I should say. And then pretty warm across the valleys of California again, 80s and 90s. Vegas is sitting at 97, Phoenix 96. So they probably hit 100 today or got really close. 89 in El Paso, 86 in Albuquerque. A little bit windy out there. Looks like it's gusting up about 30, 35 miles an hour in parts of New Mexico there. Pretty warm across Texas this evening, 80s and 90s, some upper 70s along the Gulf Coast down here. Pretty dry as you get, farther to the east here. A lot of 70s, some 60s back in through here, so pretty pleasant this evening out there, and low humidity values for the most part. Yeah, really where the dew points start getting in the 70s is just right near the coast of Texas here. Most of this is in the 60s, so that's a sign you don't have the real deep, real humid conditions. You got some moisture, but nothing deep. Down here in Florida, yeah, you can see them rogue thunderstorms. There looks like they're going to be dying down here over the next hour or two. Still got some lower 80s out there and some 70s in other spots as you get, especially as you go farther north. going up all along the East Coast. Pretty nice, 60s, 70s across Carolinas, even up into Virginia. Some 50, it's 58 in DC area, so nice cool night out there. 50s and 60s, and back into Ohio and Pennsylvania. In the 50s back here in New York and parts of the Northeast. A couple very isolated showers, real light stuff. It's really gone. So, yeah, so that's a sign of the improving weather that'll come at least for the weekend. I can't remember what early next week brings for you guys, but we'll see. All right, I think that's it. I've covered just about everyone else. This part of the country I didn't say much about, but from Kentucky, Illinois, Ohio, Michigan. 60s out here, a little cooler up into Michigan. Well, it's in the 60s there. There's a 59, but pretty nice. So, yeah, that's all I've got to say about that. So, that's how it's going. That's the surface conditions with the radar. So, we're going to look at our 500 millibar flow. This is the driver of the surface weather systems, and really is one of the best tools to explain what's going on down at the surface in the way of fronts and why there's storms and rain going on. So, sorry, I'm taking a bite of my Twizzlers just because I am. So, yeah, so you can see this shortwave. This is a trough of low pressure out here in the Pacific Northwest, keeping it unsettled out here and rainy. Another little shortwave. These are weaker systems, kind of a couple of them going through California and Nevada here. Not much in the way with weather with that because it's dry out here. The energy is weaker, but as that presses east and gets into the plains, that'll help kick off thunderstorms. And we kind of see this. There's several little waves going across New Mexico, Texas, up into the central plains here. And you can see that's why we're getting those thunderstorms kicking off. And then here's that little upper level system going through Wisconsin and Iowa, and that's what's helping to get that more organized stuff up into this area that we saw. And then there's another wave. Most of the energy's up in Canada. That's why we're getting a few showers up in the northern, because there's a little bit of what we call the vorticity, which is causing clouds and precipitation up there. Elsewhere, high pressure is trying to build it in along the East Coast, albeit weak high pressure, but that's why it's dry out through here. So as we go through Saturday, you'll see something happen out here. So see this? So we just have continual pieces of energy coming off the Pacific, and that's going to deepen or strengthen this low. And that's why you kind of see it go from flatter to, you see that, you can see it just deepens. So that trough of low pressure gets stronger as we go through. So this is all the way through tomorrow evening, so we'll just concentrate on this. So that'll get the whole northwestern U.S., Pacific Northwest, even into Montana and Idaho. You'll have a lot of rain, showers, probably some showers and thunderstorms out here. Looks like some out into Wyoming, and a little bit of energy across Nevada, Utah, and even down into the southwest. So you'll probably have some spotty showers out here in the afternoon and evening. You can see this piece of energy coming out into the plains there tomorrow. That'll help probably spark some pretty good thunderstorms up across parts of South Dakota, Nebraska, even into Kansas. And then you see this little bit of energy that's coming out of Mexico and Texas. That should spark some thunderstorms down here again across Texas, even a little bit in New Mexico and into Oklahoma. And then you get a little energy. This is this stuff tonight. So tomorrow we'll probably see thunderstorms a little farther to the east over, say, Louisiana, Arkansas, maybe even into Tennessee and Mississippi and Alabama as we get into tomorrow, especially tomorrow evening. Looks like a little bit of a thing. It's underneath the ridge. There could be a few showers out here, but that ridge may suppress them from being thunderstorms. So yeah, this is the story. This is going to keep deepening through at least through Monday, and yeah, keep it stormy. Then you see this little dip in the jet stream, kind of just touching northern Maine, but they should have pretty good weather up in the Northeast. Maybe for most of the day up there. That looks like that may bring in some weather for Sunday for Maine, anyways. Maybe on Sunday and parts of, yeah, looks like maybe Sunday there. So yeah, since we're talking about that, so we already said that. So we talked about that through the day on Sunday. The other thing you see happening too is this deepens back here. The ridge builds across the east, but that'll just be kind of temporary. It's going to slowly push eastward, but that's going to heat it up across the east here as we go into Sunday, and yeah, and it'll keep most of the storms like up in this general part of the country. There will be some stuff out here and down here, but more isolated because it's underneath the ridge there. But so yeah, so as we go through Sunday, this really deepens. So you'll see, probably a good spell of rain somewhere across Idaho, Oregon, Nevada area into Utah. At least a lot of showers, especially showers and thunderstorms on the western or eastern side of the trough where it's warmer. Still a little, looks like there's still a little energy across Montana, and this definitely will bring in colder air and windy conditions this weekend because this will be supporting a front, and I'll show you that here in a little bit. But then we see these waves, so this is going to kick off more thunderstorms across the central and southern plains, energy all the way from Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, up into Nebraska, and even the Dakotas. So I foresee seeing thunderstorms all through this corridor on Sunday. Maybe extending a little bit over into Missouri and Iowa and Minnesota here. Yeah, but elsewhere, it looks like there could be some spotty activity. There's a little disturbance here on Sunday across Georgia and parts of the southeast, even on Saturday. And that was from this energy back here. So they could see some isolated storms and showers out here on Sunday across parts of the southeast. Looks like a little wave goes through the Great Lakes, maybe a few showers and thunderstorms there over the top of the ridge. And then that probably the unsettled weather, maybe a little bit of rain or showers and clouds up for Maine on Sunday, but that'll be short lived again. So as we go through Monday, so yeah, we see that ridge build back in. So for the eastern third of the country, pretty dry. There might be some stuff across Florida. This energy really weakens, so there probably won't be much left. So it looks like on Monday, this area again, the northern and central plains, especially from Oklahoma northward, maybe a little bit into Texas, and that'll advance kind of towards Missouri and Illinois, or not Illinois, Iowa and Minnesota, maybe Wisconsin a little bit as we go through Monday evening. So a severe chance through here too. So Sunday and Monday look pretty favorable for severe weather, more widespread than what we're seeing for today and tomorrow. And then it looks like a little wave going across Arkansas. So parts of the southeast down here into Tennessee and Kentucky might see some thunderstorms here as we go into Monday afternoon and evening. So yeah, and you can see this troughs of low pressure slowly moving eastward. So that's going to push everything east, for the most part. So we'll just go through Tuesday here. So Tuesday, the trough kind of starts to lift out and weaken a little bit. So we'll just go through Tuesday night. So we still got disturbance. So it's still going to be unsettled across this part of the West, shower storms, a little bit of rain. We can see this piece of energy moving to the northern plains into Minnesota. So it's going to be rainy up here. Probably showers and thunderstorms out into parts of this area back in through here, Iowa, Kansas, Missouri, down through Oklahoma and Arkansas, probably, maybe points eastward. And you see that ridge is slowly pushing east. The East Coast is still under its influence, but even bits of energy are starting to push like into the Great Lakes here and down into the southeast a little bit. That might bring some showers and thunderstorms Tuesday night. That's as far as we'll go. So yeah, that's kind of the trend, that deepening trough at least through Monday, and then Tuesday, Yeah, see, there's like Monday, and then Tuesday it starts to kind of fill, or weekend. We call it fill. So deepen and fill are meteorological terms we use for like what happens to low pressures and and uh, and what was, I'm sorry, I'm like getting tired here. And strengthen or weaken is kind of the same term, but it's easier for you guys to understand since you're not familiar with deepen and fill. But since I'm explaining it to you, now you know. So when you hear it, you'll know what I'm talking about. This is like a meteorology 101 course, right? So anyway, so that kind of went into Wednesday, but yeah, that's what's happening. That ridge builds over the weekend and slowly shifts eastward. So it'll still be pretty warm across the eastern third of the country on Tuesday. So, and you'll see that reflected in the temperatures, but we won't look at the temperatures. So now we're getting to be 20 minutes here. So we'll quickly go through the rest of this here and call it good here. So it's going slow, my internet. So yeah, this is that complex, and then this isolated, scattered all over the place out here through the central part of the country, and then that stuff in the northwest. So we'll just go all the way through tomorrow. So by tomorrow, you'll see it pretty active up here across the northern Rockies and Pacific Northwest. Here's that stuff breaking out across Wyoming and Colorado. You see that low pressure forms that are out there in eastern Colorado, and this is where we'll probably see a good convective complex form out in Nebraska, Iowa, northern Missouri. You know, I told you, like, even you got a warm front kind of developing here. And then you still have this bit of energy back here through the Ohio Valley area, going down to Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio, those parts through tomorrow evening. So showers and thunderstorms, looks like the severe threat will be especially up through here tomorrow. Although you can't rule anything out farther south, although it looks like, you know, the model's saying there could be some spotty stuff, but it'll be real isolated as you get southward into Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas, so, and even south of northern Missouri. It'll, if anything does develop, it'll be very isolated. So as you go through Sunday, so that's going to kind of be the ongoing storms, and those will lift to the northeast. We kind of see this front reorient. You got a warm front kind of going from Kansas up into southern Minnesota and then extending eastward. So this is Saturday evening. So the focus will be up here, especially in the afternoon, up into the northern plains, northern into the northern Midwest, into the Great Lakes. But as you go through the evening, they'll probably start popping down here through Nebraska, Kansas, into Oklahoma. It'll be more isolated south of Kansas. And it might roll into Missouri, but that would be late night stuff, and it could still be severe. So I'm talking maybe, 11, 12, midnight. So that kind of late for Missouri. So yeah, after 10 o'clock at least. So yeah, you got this, and then you got a cold front kind of developing on the backside. You can see that cold air. It looks like they're showing some mountain snow back here into Wyoming and Utah. Let me go back and just show you. So this is Saturday, so you can see these isobars get packed up. This is lines of equal pressure. They're packed up, so it's going to get windy out here. You can already see that colder air. The snow's dropping. You're seeing more snow show up in the mountains there. And still windy Sunday morning, and then the winds will let up and move southward, so it'll be windy out in parts of Utah and central Nevada. Yeah, even that, they're showing some snow from northern Nevada. I mean, maybe Sunday morning, Elko, or, at least places north of them might see some snow, or at least up in the higher elevations, maybe above 6,000 feet. But yeah, when they show that, that's definitely over Elko. Elko's at 5,000 feet, so they could get some snow. They're supposed to get cooler. I think they had a high of in the 50s on Sunday, so it's not unheard of for May to see snow there. Yeah, so so yeah, So we talked about that. We already talked about this. And you saw, I told you about these disturbances out here, maybe a few scattered showers and thunderstorms across the southeast and mid-Atlantic on Sunday. Not so much on Saturday, but most on Sunday they start showing up, and even some stuff down here in Louisiana along the Gulf Coast. As you go into your Monday, so this system will slowly push eastward as we go into Monday night. So it looks like Nebraska, Iowa, down into Kansas, Missouri. This day could be just as significant, if not more significant, than Sunday. Although that the warm fronts always bother me because when you get those warm fronts, it gives you a little more shear, and those tend to be favorable areas for tornadoes when severe weather forms along these warm fronts. So, yeah, even for Saturday, yeah, watch out for some tornadoes. But yeah, especially through here, I'd watch out for tornadoes up through Nebraska, Iowa, and maybe into Minnesota and Wisconsin a little bit. So something to watch. That's my thoughts on it. But as you go into Monday, it's definitely going to be more active across the plains here, all the way from Nebraska, Iowa, southward into Arkansas, Louisiana. The farther north, since you're north of the low up here in this part, probably not going to be as much of a severe threat. At least back up through here. Maybe over Illinois could have some severe weather, but yeah, and that's Monday. So as we go into Tuesday, this whole system, the low pressure moves up into Canada, but the front slowly drags south and east very slowly. This is by Tuesday night, so the Great Lakes down through Illinois, the Midwest area, into Missouri and Oklahoma and Texas. So this is where the severe threat will be in this general area on Tuesday. That's where I'll end this video. Looks like there's still some energy across the west there. And we kind of saw that as that trough was lifting out on Tuesday back here and across the Rockies. So some showers and maybe even some isolated thunderstorms. The cool air will still be lingering early next week, but it'll slowly warm up through the week because that trough's lifting and moving eastward. So I'll show you the storm forecast and then we'll call it good. So this is for the rest of tonight. All I'm going to say about this is that's probably pretty accurate over Iowa. That's where we saw a majority of the cluster of storms. And then back down here into Oklahoma and Texas, that's probably pretty good. The rest of the area, yeah, there's I guess maybe a threat of isolated, but it was looking pretty spotty, and it's getting late in the night, so we'll see if that pans out much more tonight. For tomorrow, like I said, along that warm front, the threat looks like they've painted the area over parts of Nebraska back here in the southwest part and parts of northeast Kansas, or northwest Kansas. But this whole area, northern Missouri, Iowa, through Nebraska and Kansas, watch out. Even in the darker green. So along this front, watch out. Let's see what they did for tornadoes. Yeah, so there's a pretty good risk, along there, along that warm front. There's your wind and hail threat. So that's probably where they're expecting the supercells to develop, is back in through that area too. And that makes sense where the warm front and all the forcing look to be. What I mean by forcing is where all the upper level support was. So this is day 3 for Sunday, so it gets more oriented almost north to south. So yeah, all the way up in here to Minnesota. I mean, all the way north. And then all the way down into Kansas, Texas. But yeah, this area, this looks pretty good to me. Yeah, so watch out Sunday through that part. Especially if you're up in, North Dakota, Minnesota, Iowa, and back into Nebraska. So, but even surrounding areas. So Omaha, Des Moines, watch out. Minneapolis, these smaller communities out here in central Nebraska, watch out. So, yeah, that's Sunday. And then they still got stuff for. So this is Monday here. So look at that, man. It's like right over the center part of the country, from parts of the Great Lakes through the Midwest all the way through the plains there. So watch out, man. Kansas City, Wichita, Oklahoma City, Omaha, Des Moines, Minneapolis, Chicago, You name it, it's almost in there in the center part of the country. So, and that was Monday. And Tuesday, it starts to slowly shift south over St. Louis, parts of like Springfield, Missouri, down to Springfield, Illinois, and Springfield, Missouri, and Joplin area, Tulsa, and Oklahoma City, getting close to the Little Rock area. So there you go. Watch out on Tuesday. After that, there's not a lot of confidence. We'll see. There still might be a threat on Wednesday, but we'll see how it lines up by then. All right, that's all I've got. I'm going to call tonight. This has gone for 30 minutes, but we had a lot to talk about because there's a lot going on with thunderstorm activity and just several waves. And so, hey, I appreciate y'all. Please like and subscribe, and I hope you learned something, even if you learn something about vorticity or low pressure, high pressure, filling, deepening, whatever it is. Or if there's something else you want to learn about, put them in the comments, Maybe I'll eventually look at the comments. Sometimes it takes me a few days to go look at my comments because I'm kind of slow and just, yeah, I keep busy doing other things. So, anyways, I appreciate y'all, and y'all have a good weekend. Wixman Ray out.